Dear students, in today's class we will discuss the next subtopic of module 4, that is single phase induction motor. So far whatever we have discussed till now, that is all related to the three phase induction motor, and again in the same module 4 now we are going to study for single phase induction motor. Okay, so this is also the same induction motor which is working on the principle of mutual induction only. Instead of three phases it will be having single phase. This is the only difference. And rating wise, application wise, this will be used for small domestic rating applications. Okay, now let us see the things related to single phase induction motor. So in this class I will just brief out all the introduction, construction, working of single phase induction motor, and why it is not self starting, based on double revolving theory and all, because already I have covered double revolving theory concept before to this. Okay, now let us see the introduction related to single phase induction motor. For general lighting purpose in shops, offices, houses, schools, etc., single phase AC supply is commonly used. Hence, instead of DC motors, the motors which work on single phase AC supply are popularly in use. These motors are called single phase induction motor. The numerous domestic applications use single phase induction motor. The power rating of such motors is very small. Some of them are even fractional horsepower motors, which are used in applications like small toys, small fans, hair dryers, etc. This chapter explains the construction, working, and applications of various types of single phase induction motors. So, usually, wherever you take the domestic applications like school, offices, colleges, there all we are going to make use of single phase AC supply. And since single phase AC supply is easily available, so instead of making use of DC motors, we are going to make use of AC motors, that too of single phase. So if the induction motor it is made to operate on single phase AC supply, then that type of the AC motor we call it as single phase induction motor. Okay. Now this single phase induction motor it is used for many applications. Okay, that too it is used for small rating applications, that from large HP, from some certain HP to fractional HP. Okay, like for the examples of applications like small toys, small fans, hair dryers, etc. Okay, and so now let us see the construction, working principle of single phase induction motor. In brief, I will explain you about this construction of single phase induction motor. Okay. Similar to DC motor, single phase induction motor has basically two main parts, one rotating and other stationary. The stationary part in single phase induction motor is called stator, while rotating part is called rotor. So like the DC motor, here in the case of the single phase induction motor also there will be two parts, one is stationary and one is stationary, another is rotating. The one which is stationary it is called as stator, and the other which is rotating it is called as rotor. It is just like now normal DC motor, or what is that, three-phase induction motor parts. It is having two important parts, that is stator and rotor. Stator means static, rotor means rotating. Okay. The stator has laminated construction made up of stampings. The stampings are slotted on its periphery to carry the windings called stator winding. So stator it is having laminated construction made up of stampings. It is going to have stator winding or the main winding. Okay. This is excited by AC supply. So we are going to give power supply to the main or the stator winding. The laminated construction keeps iron losses minimum. So this laminated construction makes iron losses to be minimum. The stampings are made up of material like silicon steel, which minimizes the hysteresis loss. So once again, the stampings are made up of silicon steel to reduce the hysteresis losses. The stator winding is wound for certain definite number of poles when excited by AC supply. Stator produces the magnetic field which creates the effect of certain definite number of poles. The number of poles for which stator winding is wound decides the synchronous speed of the motor. So here it will be having stator poles onto which we are going to wound the stator winding, and we are going to give the power supply to the stator winding. Because of that, stator current will be there, main current that is flowing through the main winding. Because of that, flux will be available. Okay, flux is available at the stator side. Because of that, based on that only we can judge the speed, that is nothing but the synchronous speed of the induction single phase induction motor. The synchronous speed is denoted as ns, and it has fixed relation with supply frequency and number of poles. The relation is given by, so based on the number of stator poles, we can decide the synchronous speed of the single phase induction motor given by the formula ns equal to 120 f by p rpm. This is already known to you. Okay, the induction motor never rotates with synchronous speed, but rotates at a speed which is slightly less than synchronous speed. This is already known that this induction motor will never run at a speed equal to the synchronous speed. It will be always running at a speed less than synchronous speed. Okay, the rotor construction of squirrel cage type. In this type, rotor consists of uninsulated copper or aluminum bars placed in the slots. These bars are permanently shorted at both ends with the help of conducting rings. They are called end rings. The entire structure looks like a cage, hence it is called squirrel cage rotor. The construction and symbol for this is shown in figure 6.2.1. As the bars are permanently shorted to each other, the resistance of the entire rotor is very very small. The air gap between the stator and rotor is kept uniform and as small as possible. The main feature of this rotor is automatically adjusts that it automatically adjusts itself for same number of poles as that of the stator winding. So here, if you see the rotor, stator is having the stator poles and it is going to carry the main winding to which we give the power supply and to get the stator flux. Coming to the rotor part, the rotor here it is made up of the construction like squirrel cage. So this is the rotor which is having uninsulated copper or aluminum bars, and on the both the sides it is shorted by the what is that conducting end rings, conducted end rings, and this structure is looking like a squirrel cage of the squirrel. Because of that, we call this as squirrel cage induction motor. Okay, so this is the rotor of squirrel cage induction motor, and this is the what is that symbolic representation of the squirrel cage rotor. Okay, so then the schematic representation of the two-pole single-phase induction motor are as shown in figure 6.2.2. So this is the schematic representation of two-pole single-phase induction motor. So this is the stator having two poles onto which we are going to wound the single-phase stator winding, that is main winding, and this is the rotor, and this is the rotor, that is squirrel cage, and this is the shaft. So this is the schematic representation of single-phase induction motor, squirrel cage induction motor. Okay, so this is all about construction of the single phase induction motor. Now let us see the working principle, how single phase induction motor is working. For the motoring action, there must be two fluxes which interact with each other to produce the torque. So always, if we want the motor action means there should be rotation. So to get the rotation, what should be there? There should be two fluxes. The one flux is because of the stator winding, the other flux because of the rotor winding. When these two fluxes will interact with each other, this will be in one particular direction. It will be unidirection, and based on that direction only induction motor will be working. It will be rotating. Okay, this is the well-known concept. Now let us see the working principle for single phase induction motor. For the motoring action, there must be exist two fluxes which interact with each other to produce the torque. In DC motors, field winding produces the main flux, while DC supply given to the armature is responsible to produce armature flux. If you take DC motors, it will be having two windings. Field winding, it is going to produce main flux, while when DC supply is given to the armature, it is going to produce the armature flux. Okay, so now this armature flux and main flux both will interact with each other to produce the torque in the case of DC motor. Because of that, DC motor will start to rotate in one particular direction, whether either it might be clockwise direction or anti-clockwise direction. Okay, but in the case of single phase induction motor, single phase AC supply is given to the stator winding. The stator winding carries an alternating current which produces the flux which is also alternating in nature. But here in the case of single phase induction motor, initially we are going to provide excitation to the, or we are going to give the AC supply to the stator winding. Because of that, it is going to produce alternating stator flux. Okay, this flux is called as main flux. It is alternating in nature. This flux links with the rotor conductor. So once the flux is generated in the stator, next it is going to interconnected with the rotor, because in between stator and rotor there is a uniform air gap. So via that air gap, now the stator flux it is going to link with the rotor conductors, and now the rotor it is short circuited because it is squirrel cage induction motor. If it is short circuited means there, because of the transformer action, EMF get induced in the rotors, because voltage is already flux is already available from the stator. Then from the air gap it is going to link to the rotor conductors. When once the rotor conductors they are going to cut the main flux, that is the stator flux. Because of the transformer action, EMF is induced, generate EMF is induced in the rotor. Okay, voltage is available in the rotor now because rotor is short circuited, it is having closed circuit path. Now the induced EMF drives the current through the rotor. Because of the rotor EMF, then there is a flow of rotor current. Okay, as rotor is short circuited or the closed circuit. Okay, this rotor current produces another flux. So now already there is one flux because of the stator winding. Now because of the rotor current, there is another flux in the rotor, which we call it as rotor flux, required for the motoring action. So now there are two fluxes. The one flux is stator flux and the second flux is rotor flux. The second flux is produced according to the induction principle. So now this second flux means rotor flux. It is produced because of the induction principle from the stator, then to the air gap, then to the rotor via the induction principle. The EMF is induced. Because of that, this induction, this single phase machine, AC machine, it is called as induction motor. As against this in DC motor, a separate supply is required to armature to produce the armature flux. So if you consider DC motor, separate supply we have to give it for the armature winding for producing the armature flux, but it is not in the case of AC single phase induction motor. So whatever flux it is generated in the stator via the air gap, it is going to link with the rotor. Because of the transformer action, rotor EMF will be induced. As the circuit is closed, rotor current will start to flow, then rotor flux is available. So now this all happens because of the mutual induction process. Because of that, this is called as single phase induction motor. Okay. Another important difference that the two between the two is that DC motors are self-starting while single-phase induction motors are not self-starting. So DC motors are self-starting, but if you take what is that? Now, this single phase induction motor, it is not self-starting. Why it is not self-starting? Already I have explained you based on the double revolving field theory. What this double revolving field theory suggests? This double revolving field theory suggests the stator flux, whatever we are getting in the beginning, in the stator winding, that is main flux, it is alternating in nature. It is alternating in nature, and because of this alternating in nature, the main flux, it is divided into two components. That is, one component in the forward direction, that is pi f, another component that is in the backward direction, this is pi b. And now these two components which are having equal magnitude but opposite direction, this because of the transformer action or because of the mutual induction, it is going to produce one more uh, flux in the rotor. And now these two fluxes, they interact with each other and they are going to produce the torque. But see that the torque is uh, it is not rotating. Why? Because the net torque experienced by the rotor, it is zero, because the flux which is produced by the stator, it is having two components, one in the forward direction, other in the backward direction, with equal magnitude and opposite direction. Because of that, the net torque experienced by the motor is zero at the time of the starting. Because of that, induction motor fails to run on its own at the time of starting. So this is all we have seen in previous classes, where I have explained for double revolving field theory, where this double revolving field theory is also going to be asked repeatedly in the final VT exam. It is also one of the important question what they may ask in the final VT exam. And also I have told you what all things you are supposed to write, all this theory part, and then all this flux distribution, then these diagrams, then this torque speed characteristics. So all these things, they will explain why single phase induction motor, they are not self starting. So if you see this torque speed characteristics, this is the torque because of the forward component, and this is the torque because of the backward component, and the resultant torque is this one at the origin, this is zero. Okay, this is zero here in this case. Because of that, the net torque experienced by the motor, if it is zero, then there is no force for the rotation of the motor. If there is no force, then motor fails to run. So because of that, the net torque experienced by the induction motor at the time of the starting is zero. Because of flux, stator flux, it is divided to two components, one acting in the forward direction, other acting in the backward direction. Both are having equal and opposite direction, and that too, it is alternating in nature. So now this alternating in nature flux, stator flux, we are going to make rotating in nature. Because of that, to convert from alternating to rotating in nature, there are different techniques what we are going to see, that based on that conversion from alternating to rotating nature of the flux, there are different types of single phase induction motor. Now let us see. So after this, this is the question what they may ask based on why single phase induction motor is not self starting, or this is the question based on double revolving field theory. Hope you can see how many number of times this question has been asked. Okay, now let us see the different types of single phase induction motor here. Types of single phase induction motor. In practice, some arrangement is provided in the single phase induction motor so that stator flux produced becomes rotating type rather than alternating type. So here, because since stator flux is alternating type, because of that single phase induction motor are not self starting, so we need to convert this alternating type stator flux to the rotating type. So some modifications in the design point, one design part of view we have to do. Okay, now which rotates in one particular direction only. So torque produced due to such rotating magnetic field is unidirectional, as there is no oppositely directed torque present. So if we convert the stator flux from alternating to the rotating, then torque will be only in one particular direction, whereas if it is in alternating, means it will, half of the component will be in forward direction and half of the component will be backward direction with equal magnitude and opposite direction. Because of that, net torque will be zero, then motor fails to run. But if it is rotating nature, means then it will rotate in only one particular direction, it will be having unidirectional torque. So torque produced due to such rotating magnetic field is unidirectional, as there is no oppositely directed torque present. So here there is no one more torque that can oppose to the unidirectional torque. So motor can start on its own in one particular direction if stator flux is made to be rotating type. Hence, under the influence of the rotating magnetic field in one direction, the induction motor becomes self-starting. So, if we make the provision that stator flux from alternating, if it is converted to the rotating magnetic field, then very easily induction motor can start on its own at the time of starting. It rotates in same direction as that of the rotating magnetic field. So, whatever the direction of the rotating magnetic field will be there, in the same direction it is going to rotate. Okay, thus depending upon the methods of producing rotating stator magnetic flux, the single phase induction motors are classified as. So depending upon the how we are going to convert alternating flux to the rotating flux, rotating stator magnetic flux, the single phase induction motors are classified as: first one is split phase induction motor, capacitor start induction motor; third one capacitor start capacitor run induction motor; then fourth one shaded pole induction motor. So out of these four, already I have explained for you in the previous class for split phase induction motor, and now in the today's class we will discuss for capacitor start induction motor, capacitor start capacitor run induction motor. Okay, so now you can see here, to produce the rotating magnetic field, it is necessary to have two minimum alternating fluxes which have a phase difference between the two. So always we know that for the torque to be there, there should be the interaction of the two fluxes. One flux is stator flux, other is the rotor flux, and see that both these two fluxes, they should have the phase shift. If they have phase shift, then alternating flux can be converted into rotating flux. So how to provide this phase shift alpha? So this providing phase shift alpha between the two fluxes is only this all different types of single phase induction motors. So in the main exam, this out of the four, any one of the motor will be compulsorily asked for 5 to 6 to 8 marks. So out of the four, any one of the induction motor will be compulsorily asked, like the question with a neat sketch explain the construction and working and application, advantage disadvantage of split phase induction motor, or capacitor start capacitor run induction motor, or shaded pole induction motor. Any of the motor they may ask. So whenever they ask particular motor, that particular information or the description you are supposed to write in the final VTU exam. So now for producing the rotating torque, there should be two fluxes and having the phase shift of alpha. So how to provide this phase shift alpha between the two fluxes pi 1 and pi 2? Pi 1 means stator flux, pi 2 means rotor flux here. Now let us see the description for this. Okay, to produce the rotating magnetic field, it is necessary to have two minimum alternating fluxes having the phase difference between the two. The interaction of such two fluxes produce a resultant flux which is rotating magnetic flux. So the whenever these two fluxes they are having phase shift of alpha, then the alternating flux is converted into rotating magnetic flux, rotating in a space in one particular direction. So it will rotate in one particular direction. So an attempt is made in all the single phase induction motors to produce an additional flux other than stator flux. So here we are going to make some alterations. So an attempt is made in all the single phase induction motors to produce an additional flux other than stator flux. So the additional flux is this pi 2, what we are going to make the provision in the single phase induction motor to make the induction single phase induction motor to start on its own. Okay, which has certain phase difference with respect to the stator flux. Stator flux is pi 1 here. Such two fluxes are shown in the figure 6.5.1, having phase difference of alpha between them. So this is the two fluxes, pi 1 and pi 2. Pi 1 is the stator flux and pi 2 is the additional flux, and in between them the phase shift is alpha angle. More the phase angle difference alpha, more is the starting torque produced. So more will be the angle between the pi 1 and pi 2, then more will be the starting torque tst. Thus production of rotating magnetic field at start is important to make the single phase induction motor self starting. So if there is a alpha between the two fluxes, then torque produced will be in one particular direction. Because of that, motor will start on its own. Once the motor starts, then the other flux pi 2 may be removed and motor can continue to rotate under the influence of the stator flux or the main flux alone. So once single phase induction motor will start on its own, then the additional flux pi 2 can be removed. Okay, it can be removed. So the very best example for this single phase induction motor is the ceiling fan. In the ceiling fan, if you observe, there is a capacitor connected. Okay, so that capacitor, it is going to serve many functions. Like first one is, it is, since ceiling fan it is single phase induction motor, so if it is induction motor means that capacitor, it is going to improve the power factor. Okay, and also other than improving the power factor, it is making the ceiling fan to start on its own, because ceiling fan is a single phase induction motor. If there is no capacitor, then ceiling fan will not start because of alternating flux. So that alternating flux is converted to the rotating flux by adding the capacitor, where it is going to provide phase shift alpha. Because of that, signaling fan will start on its own. Okay, more the phase difference alpha angle alpha, more is the starting torque produced. Thus production of rotating magnetic field at start is important to make the single phase induction motor self starting. So in order to make what is that single phase induction motor self starting, the phase angle alpha should be more between pi 1 and pi 2. Once the motor starts, then another flux pi 2 may be removed and the motor can continue to rotate under the influence of stator or main flux alone. So once motor will start on its own, then flux pi 2 can be removed. Okay, let us see how the rotating magnetic field is produced in various types of single phase induction motors. So now let us see how the single phase induction motors, they are made to rotate on its own by producing the rotating magnetic field. So out of the four, the first one is split phase induction motor. This already I have covered in the previous class. This is also the one of the important question. So hope you can see how many number of times this question has been appeared. The question will be like, with a neat sketch explain the construction working of split phase induction motor. So then you are supposed to explain for all these description here. So this is the uh, split phase induction motor, where this is the main winding, this is inductive in nature, this is the starting winding, which is resistive in nature, and this is the centrifugal phase switch. So this will give us flux pi 1 and this will give us flux pi 2. So in between, flux pi 1 means, and this is flux pi 1 is because of current im, that is main winding current, it is inductive current. This is inductive current. Then flux pi 2, this is because of the starting winding current ist. This ist gives us one more flux pi 2. So in between im and ist, or uh, pi 1 and pi 2, the phase shift angle is alpha, because this is resistive in nature, starting winding is resistive in nature, and this is inductive in nature. Because of this resistive in nature, there exists a phase shift of alpha, okay, in between ist and im. And because of this alpha only, we can convert alternating stator flux to the rotating flux. And where this current, starting current ist, it is resistive in nature, so it is almost current ist, it is almost in phase with the voltage because of resistive nature. So this already I have covered in the earlier class. So once it is going to start on its own, then the centrifugal switch is opened, then flux pi 2, flux pi 2 means the flux that is available because of the starting current I2 is taken out, and then motor can run very easily once it is going to pick up the speed. So this is all about so what is that, split phase induction motor. Yes, and all these about uh, torque versus speed characteristics. These are the applications. This already have covered, and this is the type of question what you may get in the final VT exam. Okay, so now after this we will see the description for capacitor start induction motor. So this very good example is the ceiling fan, where ceiling fan is a single phase induction motor and it is having the capacitor. So the capacitor is serving two purpose, as I have told you. One, it is to improve the what is that, power factor of the circuit. Why? Because induction motor means it is inductive load. Then we have to improve the power factor, means that capacitor is going to improve the power factor, and also it is going to make the ceiling fan to start on its own. So the very good example is ceiling fan here, which is single phase induction motor. So you can see how many number of times this question has been asked. capacitor start induction motor. Let us see the construction description. Type of motor is similar to the resistance split phase type, means earlier split phase type of motor. The difference is that in series with the auxiliary winding, the capacitor is connected. The capacitive circuit draws the leading current. This feature used in this type to increase the split phase angle between the two currents Im and Ist. So if you see the split phase induction motor here, this split phase induction motor, it is having resistive starting winding having the current Ist, and inductive main winding, this is the stator winding, and in between these two currents, this is Ist, current flowing through the starting winding Ist, and current flowing through the main winding is Im. In between these two there is a alpha angle. So now further, with the same circuit diagram, if I add additional one more capacitor here, if we add one more additional capacitor to the split phase induction motor, then it is called as capacitor start induction motor. Okay, it is called as capacitor start induction motor. We all know that in the capacitor circuit always current leads to the voltage. So now what is the current here? The current is Ist. The current in this case is Ist. Because of that, the current which is earlier at this position Ist, now it is leading to the voltage. Voltage means this is a voltage phasor, and now this current Ist, it gets shifted to here. Because of that, now the phase angle between this Im and Ist further increases. Alpha is further increases. Alpha is further increase in comparison with the normal split phase induction motor. So this capacitor start induction motor, it is as good as split phase induction motor with the only addition of capacitor in series with the starting winding, and the starting winding is resistive in nature. Okay, because of that, starting current Ist is leading to the voltage. Because of the capacitive current Ist, it is leading to the voltage, and now the earlier position of the Ist is at this position, now it gets shifted to this position. Because of that, alpha, which is earlier only this much, now it has been improved. Okay, because of the fact alpha has been increased, means automatically torque is also going to be increased. Okay, the construction of this type of motor is similar to the resistance split phase type. The difference is that in series with the auxiliary winding, the capacitor is connected. The capacitor current draws the leading current Ist. This feature used in this type to increase the split phase angle alpha between the two currents, main current Im and starting current Ist. Okay, depending upon whether capacitor remains in the circuit permanently or it is disconnected from the circuit using the centrifugal switch, these motors are classified as. So after that, whether capacitor is included or it is removed, once the motor is going to pick up the speed, based on that, there are a further classification, that is capacitor start motor, and second one is capacitor start capacitor run motor. Now let us see the first one. So this is the circuit diagram for the capacitor start. Everything is same. If you consider the normal split phase induction motor, it is having once again inductive main winding, that is stator winding, and this is the resistive starting winding having the starting current Ist. In addition to that, you are going to have this capacitor, and this centrifugal switch is common. Everything is same, and this starting current Ist, earlier it was at this position, but now it has been shifted where starting current Ist is leading to the voltage. Because of that, the angle alpha is more between Im and Ist. This is Im, which is the inductive current or the current flowing through the stator winding, and this is the Ist, current flowing through the resistive starting winding, where because of the leading current, the Ist, it is going to shift, or Ist is leading to the voltage. Because of that, the angle between Ist and Im is alpha. So here phase shift, it has been improved. So if phase shift is more, a phase shift angle is more, then torque is also more. Because of that, induction motor will start on its own. Okay, the construction of the capacitor start motor is shown in figure 6.7.1a. So this is the figure 6.7.1a, which is going to represent capacitor start motor, and this is the phasor diagram representing the position of starting current, main winding current, total current, then voltage and phase angle alpha, pi st, pi m. Okay, the current Im lags the voltage by an angle pi m. So this current Im is the main winding current that is flowing through the stator inductive winding, and it is lagging to the main voltage V. So this is main winding current, which is inductive in nature, and it is lagging to the supply voltage V here. Okay, by an angle of pi m. So the angle between voltage V and Im is this angle pi m. Similarly, while due to the capacitor, the current IST leads the voltage by an angle of pi st. So here the capacitor is connected in the stator winding. Because of that, current flowing through the capacitor is IST. Because of that, what will happen? It will be leading current. So because of that, current IST is leading to the supply voltage V. Okay, supply voltage V. So current IST, it is leading to the supply voltage V. So the angle between IST and V is pi st. Pi st. Okay. Hence there exists a large phase difference between the two currents, which is almost 90 degree. So now if you see the phase shift between IST and IM, that is alpha, it is almost 90 degree. It is very large angle, which is an ideal case. The phasor diagram is shown in figure 6.7.1b. So this is the phasor diagram representing the position of IST, total current I, main winding current IM, supply voltage V, phase shift angle alpha, starting power factor angle pi st, and main winding power factor angle pi m. Okay, the starting torque is proportional to alpha, and hence such motors produce very high starting torque. So here we know that torque is more if alpha is more. So if since here alpha is more, so therefore starting torque is very high. Because of that, induction motor will start on its own very easily. Then when speed approaches to 75 to 80% of the synchronous speed, the starting winding gets disconnected. So now once speed approaches to 75 to 80% of the synchronous speed, then the starting winding gets disconnected due to the operation of the centrifugal switch. So here there is a centrifugal switch which is connected in series with the starting winding and the capacitor. If we don't want this capacitor to remain in the circuit once the speed of the induction motor attains to 75 to 80%, then centrifugal switch will be opened automatically. Okay, then capacitor is disconnected. So therefore capacitor remains in the circuit only at the time of starting, hence it is called as capacitor start motor. So once if the motor is attained to 70 to 80% of the speed, and if we disconnect it by opening the centrifugal switch, then then this capacitor is made to remain in the circuit only at the time of starting to provide the starting torque to make the induction motor to start on its own. If that is the case, then that type of the induction motor, it is called as capacitor start motor. It is called as capacitor start motor. Okay. Then in case of capacitor start, capacitor run. Now let us see what about the capacitor start, capacitor run motor. In case of capacitor start, capacitor run motor, there is no centrifugal switch and capacitor remain permanently in the circuit. So if you consider capacitor start, capacitor run motor, then the only difference is that there is no centrifugal switch. This centrifugal switch will not be here. It will be completely shorted here. So it will be completely shorted. So there will be capacitor at the time of starting, as well as there is a capacitor in the circuit at the time of normal working condition also. If that is the case, then it is called as capacitor start, capacitor running motor, capacitor run motor. Okay. Now in case of capacitor start, capacitor run motor, there is no centrifugal switch and the capacitor remain permanently in the circuit. This improves the power factor. The schematic representation of the motor is shown in figure 6.7.2. So this is figure 6.7.2 indicating capacitor start, capacitor run motor, where there is a inductive main winding, that is stator winding, and this is the resistive auxiliary winding in series with the capacitor. And here you are can observe that there is no centrifugal switch. So centrifugal switch is absent, so there is no provision to disconnect the capacitor. If this is the case, then it is called as capacitor start, capacitor run motor. It means that capacitor will be included at the time of starting as well as during the normal running condition also. Okay. The phasor diagram remains the same as shown in figure 6.7.1b. So for this capacitor start, capacitor and motor, once again the same circuit, the same phasor diagram will be there. It will be having leading current IST with respect to the voltage, and the power factor angle is pi st, lagging current IM with respect to V, and the corresponding power factor angle is pi m, and the total current is I. And the angle between starting current and main winding current IM is alpha. So the same phasor diagram will be there even for the capacitor start, capacitor and induction motor. Okay. Then the performance not only the performance not only at start but in the running condition also depends on the capacitor C. Hence its value is to be designed so as to compromise between best start and best running conditions. So capacitor will be included throughout the operation or the throughout the running of the induction motor. So we have to design or we have to select the capacitor of appropriate value so that it can give best running condition. Hence the starting torque available in such type of the motor is about 50 to 100% of load torque. So here we are going to attain huge torque, that is 50 to 100% of load torque. Then the torque slip characteristics are as shown in figure 6.7.3. So this is the torque speed characteristics for capacitor start induction motor, that is figure 6.3, where y-axis indicates full load torque and x-axis indicates speed. So here this is the full load torque versus speed characteristics. The first curve is for capacitor start motor, and this is for capacitor start capacitor run motor. So this is the starting torque for capacitor start motor, and this is the starting torque for capacitor start capacitor run motor. Where for the starting torque, uh, where for the capacitor starting induction motor, the starting torque is in the range of 350 to 400, and similarly for the capacitor start capacitor run, the starting torque is in the range of 150 to 200%. Okay, the direction of the rotation in both the types can be changed by interchanging the connections of the main winding or auxiliary winding. Suppose if you want to change the direction of the induction motor, single phase induction motor, that to capacitor type, then what we can do, we can interchange the connections of either main winding or auxiliary winding. Because of that, the flux will rotate in opposite direction. Because of that, the direction of the induction motor will change. Okay, the capacitor permanently in the circuit improves the power factor. These motors are more costly than split phase type. So here in this case, capacitor will be added and capacitor will be removed, will be remaining permanently. Because of that, power factor will be increased, and also the cost will be more in comparison with the split phase type induction motor. Okay, then the capacitor value can be selected as per the requirement of the starting torque. The starting torque can be as high as 350 to 400%. So whatever the starting torque we want, based on that starting torque, we can select the appropriate capacitor value, and this will give us high torque of 350 to 400% of the full load torque. You can observe here 350 to 400 of the full load torque, you can get it. Okay, the speed torque characteristics are as shown in figure 6.7.3. So these are the torque speed characteristics for capacitor start and capacitor run induction motor. Then let us see the applications now. The applications of capacitor start induction motors are, these motors are having uh, high starting torque, and hence are used for hard starting loads. So this is as it is having high torques, so this can be used for hard starting loads. The loads which require high torque, there we can make use of this kind of motors. Okay, these are used for compressors. So where all you can make use, these are used for compressors, conveyors, grinders, fans, blowers, refrigerators, then air conditioners, etc. These are most commonly used motors. So these are all most commonly used motors. The capacitor start capacitor run motors are used in ceiling fans, blowers, and air circulators. These motors are available up to 6 kilowatts. So these are all the applications and rating of the capacitor start induction motor. Okay, after this, now let us see the numerical problems on the capacitor start induction motor. Now let us see the first problem here. Mm, This is V2 question paper question numerical problem. You can see the problem statement. A 250 watt, 230 volt, 50 hertz, a single phase capacitor start induction motor has the following constants for the main and auxiliary winding. Main winding means inductive winding, auxiliary winding means resistive winding. Main winding, it is having the impedance Zm equal to 4.5 plus J 3.7 ohms, and auxiliary winding, it is having the impedance Za equal to 9.5 plus J 3.5 ohms. J 3.5 ohms. Then determine the value of the capacitor that will place the main and auxiliary winding currents in the quadrature at starting. So here we have to find out the value of the capacitor, so that the what is that what should be the angle, so that the capacitor what should be the value of the capacitor, so that main and auxiliary winding currents, that is ist and im, it will be in quadrature, means exactly 90-degree. Okay, now let us see the next solution for this. Let xc be the reactance of the capacitor connected to the auxiliary winding. So auxiliary winding, it will be having the capacitor, and its reactance is xc. Impedance of the auxiliary winding is za is 9.5 plus j 3.5 ohms, and therefore 9.5 plus j 3.5, this is the impedance of the auxiliary winding. You can see here, this is the impedance of the auxiliary winding. Along with auxiliary winding, there is a capacitor which is having its reactance as xc. So za is auxiliary winding impedance. Along with that, in series with that, there is xc. So we should add both these now. Okay, za plus xc. So ZA is already given as 9.5 plus J 3.5 ohm. Along with that, there is, in series with that, there is a capacitor. So ZA is equal to 9.5 plus J 3.5 minus JXC. Okay. So J 3.5 minus JXC, that is equal to 9.5 minus JX, where Zm value is given as 4.5 plus G 3.7 ohms. Convert this rectangular to the polar form. So the magnitude will be 5.828 at an angle of 39.42 degree. Okay. And now this IM is the inductive main winding current, main stator winding, and it is lagging to the voltage by an angle of 39.42. Since time phase angle between IM, that is main winding current, and the auxiliary winding IA has to be 90 degree quadrature. This is the condition they have given. So IA must lead voltage by an angle given by. So here the angle between, what is that, main winding current, the angle between this main winding current and the auxiliary winding IST, that is alpha, this should be exactly equal to 90 degree. If this has to be 90 degree, then what should be the value of the C? This you are supposed to calculate here. Okay. So now already they have we have calculated the angle between voltage V and IM. The angle between voltage V and IM is how much? Is 39.42. Then rest of the angle, how much it should be? Then 90 minus 39.42. So the rest of the angle means the remaining top angle. This much angle will be what? Whatever 39.42, this is there for the angle between V and IM. The rest of the angle is 90 minus 39.42 will be the top angle, that is pi st. Pi st that we are going to calculate here now. So thus IM lags behind V, uh, lags behind V by 39.42 degrees, since time phase angle between IM and IA has to be 90 degree. IA must lead V by an angle given by pi a is equal to 90 minus 39.42. So the top angle will be 50.58 degree. For then the formula this should be used for auxiliary winding. Tan pi a is equal to x by r, reactance to resistance, where pi a is 50.58, that is equal to x by 9.5. Therefore, if you solve this, the reactance x value is going to be x is equal to 9.5 into tan 50.5. So therefore x value will be 11.5572. Okay, but we have xc minus 3.5. This is already given for us. Okay, so xc minus 3.5 is equal to s. Therefore reactance of the capacitor xc is equal to 3.5. On the other side means it will be plus x, that is equal to, what is the value of x here? 11.5572. So therefore the value of the reactance of the capacitor xc is 15.0572 ohms. Okay, so this is the capacity reactance. But what is this capacity reactance? Xc is equal to 1 upon omega c, that is equal to 1 upon 2 pi fc. From this, if I want to calculate the capacitance value of the capacitor, so therefore c is equal to 1 upon 2 pi f into xc. Therefore 1 upon 2 pi, frequency f is 50 hertz and xc value is 15.0572. So therefore the capacitor value should be, if you solve it, then it will be 2.1140 into 10 raised to minus 4 farad, or 211.40 microfarad. So this is all about the value of the capacitor. In order to maintain the angle between IST and IM alpha should be 90 degree. If it is 90 degree means, if I want that angle alpha to be 90 degree, then value of the capacitor should be 211.40 microfarad. Okay. So this is the kind of problem what you can get it from capacitor start induction motor. Similarly, let us solve one more problem. You can solve this problem based on the earlier method only. So this problem you can take it as homework. This problem, for this you can refer same previous problem methodology. Okay, now we will take one more problem. The equivalent impedances of the, if you want this problem statement, I will wait for some more time here, so that you can note it down. Okay, and then we will move to the next problem. For this problem solution, you can just follow the same steps what I have covered in the previous problem. Okay, then we will move to the next problem here. The problem statement is, the equivalent impedances of the main and the auxiliary windings in a capacitor motor are 15 plus J 22.5 ohms and 50 plus J 120 ohms respectively, while the capacitance of the capacitor is 12 microfarad. Determine the line current at starting on a 230 volt 50 hertz supply. So here already they have given the main winding impedance, that is Z1M is 15 plus J 22.5 ohm, and auxiliary winding impedance is 50 plus J 120 ohms, and value of the capacitor connected is 12 microfarad. So here we should calculate the line current at starting. Okay, so xc we know that 1 upon 2 pi fc. Okay, so with that, if I want to calculate xc, c value substitute as 12 microfarad, then you will be getting reactance xc value as 265.258 ohms. So now this is a circuit diagram. So this is I1 is the current, that is line current, which is flowing through the capacitor start induction motor. So this is the starting winding, and this is the auxiliary, sorry, this is the starting winding or the auxiliary winding, and this is the main winding. Current through the auxiliary or the starting winding is I, and current through the main winding is I1M. And this is the capacitor which is permanently short circuited, and this is the input supply voltage 230 single phase. Okay, now let voltage V be reference having voltage V equal to 230 at an angle of 0 degree. Okay, then I1M, what is this I1M? Current flowing through the main winding. I1M is equal to 230 by Z1M, that is V1 by uh, V by Z1M. V is 230 at an angle of 0, and Z1M is, the value of Z1M is 15 plus J to 22.5. So convert this rectangle to the polar form, and if you solve it, then it will be having in the polar form magnitude as 8.5056 at an angle of minus 56.31. Means this is the inductive current which is lagging to the voltage by an angle of 56.31 degree. And if it is in the rectangular form, this is the real and imaginary part. Similarly, you calculate for the auxiliary current, auxiliary winding current I1A. I1A is equal to given by V V divided by Z1A minus JXC. Z1A is this minus JXC. So V is 230 at an angle of 0, and Z1A is 50 plus J 120. This is already given, and JXC, XC already we have calculated as 265.258. So substitute all the values, convert this rectangular to the polar form, and if you solve it, you will be getting rectangular form value of this. Sorry, polar form value of this, where magnitude is 1.49, 497 497 at an angle of 71 degree, means it is leading current. Then this is the leading current with respect to the voltage because of capacitor, and in the form of rectangular form it is 0.4874 plus real part is 1 j 1.4155 ampere. So now if I want to calculate the starting current, therefore this, if you apply the KCL at this point, I1 is equal to I1M plus I1A. So vector sum of I1M plus I1A is line current, starting line current I1. So therefore I1 is equal to I1M plus I1A. Add these two currents I1M and I1A, then I am going to get I1. I1 is equal to I1M plus I1A. Since operation is addition here, so consider a rectangular value of rectangular form of I1M, that is 4.718 minus J 7.077 plus I1 is rectangular form, that is 0.4874 plus J 1.4155. So if you solve, then starting line current will be magnitude in the polar form is 7.69 at an angle of 47.4 degree. It means that this current it is lagging to the voltage, because minus sign indicates it is leading, sorry, lagging current. So this is all about numerical problems on capacitor start, capacitor and induction motor. So these are the kind of questions what you can get it in the VTU final VTU exam. Okay, so you can study all these topics.